Hi everyone, my name is Feng. Welcome to my Capstone project presentation. For this data science project, I used the dataset found on Kaggle to explore the correlation between music listening habits and our listeners' mental health symptoms. So this dataset contains 735 samples from an online survey regarding the musical background, listening habits, and self-identified mental health symptoms of our respondents. I then cleaned the data, did exploratory data analysis, and summarized the data and visualization as well. Later in the presentation, I'm going to present insights that I found from this dataset, including how listening habits, favorite music genre, and perceived effect of music all correlates with our respondents' mental health symptoms. And the tools that I've used for this project are Python, Pandas, and Boca. As a first step, I did some data set assessment. There are a total of 33 columns of data, and most of them can be categorized into these three main themes. One is the background, meaning how our listeners are interacting with their music. For example, whether they're listening in foreign languages or the streaming services that they use. The second category is music genres. Respondents were asked to rank how often they listen to 16 different music genres. And the last category is mental health, where respondents were asked to rank how, from 0 to 10, how much they're experiencing anxiety, depression, insomnia, or OCD. After assessing and understanding the data, I did some data cleaning using pandas. So out of all the samples we collected, there were some missing values and some outliers. For example, participants under the age of 14. I removed them and then ended up with a final sample size of 608. So let's look at our respondents' listening habits. Our respondents have an average age of 24.84 years old, and they listen to music on average 3.71 hours per day. 79% of respondents said yes to whether they listening to music while working. 32% of them play instruments themselves, and 70% of them compose music themselves. More than half of our respondents said that they explore music genre outside of what they usually listen to, and also listen to music in foreign languages. And let's look at the favorite music genres of our correspondents. So the top genres are rock, pop, and metal. And BPM, which is the beats per minute for their favorite music genre, is on average 121.74 BPM. And on the chart on the right hand side, you can see our respondents' answer to how frequently they listen to each music genre. The last area that we're going to look at is the mental health. So please keep in mind that these are self-reported symptoms. 95.7% of respondents said they're experiencing anxiety with an average score of 5.9 out of 10. And 89.6% of respondents reported experiencing depression with a slightly lower score at 4.9, followed by insomnia and OCD. So after understanding the data, I have some initial questions I wanted to ask. I wanted to explore in this data set, and these are some of them. So the first correlations that I uncovered was between music genres and mental health. So I ran a correlation analysis between all 16 music genres and the 4 mental health symptoms. And then on the chart on the right hand side, you can see these are the correlations, and the ones that are highlighted in orange means that they're higher than the other, but however, none of them are close to 1, which indicates strong correlations between the the two x's. So these are very, very weak correlations. And rock and metal shows the strongest positive correlations with depression. Medium has a slight positive correlation with OCD score. Metal, video game music, lo-fi, and classical listening slightly correlates with insomnia. And most genre have weak to no correlation with anxiety or OCD in this data set. The negative values, meaning that there's very weak or perhaps the actually negative correlations between the music genre and mental health symptoms. Country music is among them, as well as gospel and Latin. So, which means that our respondents that who listen to this music genres are reported less or without mental health symptoms. The next area that I looked at was the correlations between listening habits and mental health. So our respondents who listened to music while working reported slightly higher OCD symptoms. Those who composed music reported slightly higher in insomnia scores. And listening to music in other languages has mild association with anxiety and depression, however, not strong enough to draw a conclusion. If we look at the chart on the right hand side, you see all these correlations are very low, even under zero point 0.1, which indicates that there's no implication of cause and effect relationship between um, listening habit and the mental health symptoms. And the next area that I explore was instead of looking at some of the existing symptoms between different categories, I wanted to see if there's any trends in behaviors for the people who reported with the highest mental health scores. So I found that listening to music in foreign language is the strongest positive differentiator for anxiety and depression, meaning that respondents who reported have high anxiety and depressions, um, most of them answer that they listen to music in foreign language. And listening while working and playing instruments consistently show up in insomnia and OCD. And on the chart, on the left hand side, you can see there are some negative values here, meaning that people who said that have higher anxiety scores, they probably don't listen to music while they're working, or they don't explore musical genre outside of what they already listen to. The last slide, I explored the perceived music effects, listening habits, and mental health symptoms. I I found out that people who agrees that music improved their mental health report higher score in anxiety and OCD than those who said it has no effect, and have lower scores in depression than those who say it's otherwise. They also listen to music the most, on average 3.77 hours per day. And people who said music worsen mental health reports the highest scores across all symptoms, especially depressions. And they also listening to music the least, on average of 2.92 hours per day. If I think this site really shows that people's belief really indicate their behavior. If they think that music really improve their mental health, they tend to listen more. If they think music worsen their mental health, they actually listen less. However, we are unsure um, if there's any correlation between people who said music worsen their mental health and are the ones who experiencing the most symptoms. Perhaps music is actually alleviating the symptoms. So in conclusion, I think from this data sets, because it's behavior and it's not in a control environment, so there's no indication of any cause and effect relationships, and all the correlations that we explored are very weak. Um, However, I still think that music is deeply intertwined with our mental health, not necessarily as a cause or a cure, but as a mirror and a tool for us to um, use to reflect on our mental health and how we are at the moment. It's also a way for us to express our emotions as well. Thank you so much for listening to my project. I hope you find this interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I hope you all have a nice day.